Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. Through the years, as I have counseled with individuals and as I've been at speaking engagements and as I read and go through the comments that you all have left me here on YouTube, I've been given the message from so many individuals of exasperation. So many of you can say, I have tried so many times and in so many ways to try to get along with that narcissistic individual in front of me, and I get it. A lot of people say, well, just go away, just no contact. But there can be so much riding on that relationship with so many other individuals involved that sometimes that's not possible. And so as a result, you can go back and go back and go back some more to that individual thinking, we've got to figure out how this is going to work. And as you do, you encounter a lot of troubled emotion with that individual, and you begin realizing this individual isn't reciprocating. They certainly don't have the same mindset in reverse. You continue to have broken hopes or expectations are simply not addressed well at all. You can continue being on the receiving end of mistreatment, and you uncover lies, or you realize that there can be a smear campaign against you behind your back. I mean, there's so many different things that can happen. And again, I've talked with so many individuals who have such a feeling of hurt. It's like, I'm doing my very best, and it's just not playing out very well. And then they decide, I've got to find some form of closure. I've got to move away from this. I've got to make sure that I don't stay stuck in all of the patterns that the narcissist keeps wanting to drag me into. And so what you do is you appeal to us. You can sit down, and I wonder how many times this has happened with you and that narcissist. You can try to sit down with that person and say, we need to talk. And so you try to bring the fullness of your reason and logic to the equation, thinking that maybe if you can speak things very clearly, that will make a difference. You can appeal to good values, and you discuss the standards that you want to have between yourself and that other individual. You might even go over strategies with that person about how to engage well with each other when difficulties come along. Sometimes you can go into counseling depending on who that person is, so that you can work with that individual to find some hope. You can sit down and write your thoughts out and then read it to that person. I've had people do stuff like that. You can establish boundaries and stipulations and consequences and hopefully get some form of agreement there. Maybe you'll even join groups that will help you in your journey and give you encouragement and support. And then yet the patterns persist. Just when you think that you're getting some headway, you can go backwards, and here it comes all over again. And at some point, it's reasonable for you to say, I've got to do something different. I need to have some closure in this relationship. I need to move on and be a healthier individual. And you'll notice that the biggest mistake that you can make that keeps you tied to that narcissist is you can go back and continue to appeal to us. And appeal to we. We need to do things differently. We need to figure out what's going on with us and make adjustments. Sure enough, when you're trying to seek relationship healing, it's okay to appeal to us and we, because that's what it's all about. But then when you're trying to appeal to relationship closure, that's when I need to move away from that us and we mentality, and I need to learn how to think more on an individualized basis. Closure in a relationship happens when you're able to move positively forward in your own personal life, despite some of the lack of resolution that you can have in these primary relationships. And so it's important for you to know that the distinctive lies inside yourself. The effort is going to be an individualized effort. The bottom line is narcissists are too self-absorbed. They're too self-enamored to really care that much about you. Let's keep in mind one of the defining features of narcissism is they have a lack of empathy because they have such a need to be in control. I mean, sometimes they may apologize and say, yeah, I'll work with you, but then they just keep going back to the same old patterns over and over. We call that crazy making. And so at some point, it's like, I've got to move on. That being the case, as you individualize your efforts to find closure, there are multiple thoughts that I'm hoping that you can hold on to. And I want to share some of these with you. And it would be thoughts that if you could say this to the narcissist. I don't necessarily encourage you to do that simply because it'll just be an effort in futility. But nonetheless, if you could, these are some thoughts that might emanate from you toward that narcissist. And the first thought that I'm hoping you can hold on to is simply this. Despite your rejection or despite your belittlement toward me, I still choose me. And I can't go along and continue to filter who I am through you. I trust myself. I make sense. And I have no need to persuade you of the fact that I make sense. I've done that far too much. Right now, the only thing that matters to me is I believe in me. I believe in my own message. Enough said. I get it. You don't have my back. And I'll no longer take my cues then from you because you are too predictably unpredictable. You're too reliably unreliable. I see that for what it is. You enjoy being in the power position, but you see, I've decided that you're no longer going to become my power source. I'm not plugging into you hoping that that's going to invigorate me. Dominance is your game, and so I'm removing myself from that. Respect is what I stand for, and it begins with me having a respect for me. And that's so important for you to hold on to that because the narcissist, as you've experienced, doesn't think like that. And then you thinking toward that narcissist, you can have that mindset that says, you get to be as critical as you want toward me. But I realize now that says a whole lot more about who you are than it does about me. And oh, by the way, speaking of criticism, you can take all of that unsolicited advice that you offer and pass it on somewhere else. That's no longer my concern. You're not a helpful resource. I see that for what it is. You and I are not a good fit. And so I'm going to cease trying to appease you. And I'm not going to lose sleep when you then turn around and blame me for not conforming to your requirements. Again, that's your game. It's a game I no longer feel the need to play along with. Something bigger is going on inside of me. I'm seeking meaning. And my sense of meaning is grounded in love. That's my number one goal. And clearly, we're not on the same page with respect to that. I want peace. I need peace. Therefore, I release you. And I release all of the chaos that goes along with you. I'm moving on. And if you're angered by my shift, so be it. You're an angry person, and that's something I just can't fix. I understand that now. I'd like to know all of the answers to my many why questions, but I'm no longer going to be held down by the confusion that you bring. And if I have to live with a certain amount of loose-endedness, I'm willing to do so. I need to move forward. I'm hoping you can think that way. And then let's take it just a little bit further. As you think toward that narcissist, we're going to hold on to the notion toward them that says simply this. You get to be you. That's your right. But I get to be me. That's my right, but more importantly, that's my responsibility. And let's take it even further. That's my calling. I get to be who I'm going to be. When I talk to individuals about that notion, I know that so many people have the thought that says, well, I want to be that, but I don't know how to do that. That narcissistic person has not ever allowed that to be. Let's keep in mind that narcissists so want to diminish you that they can empty or attempt to empty you of yourself. But when we say you want to find closure in your relationship with that person, it means that you go back to your basics, your belief in yourself, and your responsibility and your calling to be the individual that says, I stand for love, I stand for dignity, respect, and civility. And so what we're going to do is we're going to conclude by saying, my closure related to our relationship is based on one primary focus, and that is I see myself as distinct, I see myself as being good at my core, and I choose self-respect, period. And I hope that as you are trying to move forward that you'll do so with a sense of resolve, realizing that narcissists are exploiters and manipulators. Here on our Surviving Narcissism channel, we're trying to come up with ways for you to think and respond in such a way that you don't get caught in their mess of dysfunction, but instead that you can be the healthy person that you were intended to be. If you've not already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. We'll keep more videos coming in your direction. You know, Gus had me turn my chair around here, but Gus is still back there. He's giving us all support. If you have a need for therapy, and if you'd like somebody that can help you sift this out, I'm so pleased that I'm sponsored by the people at BetterHelp.com. They've been doing this with me now for several years. There's a link below that will take you to their website, and there's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that you can select from. I would strongly encourage you to go in that direction if that's a need that you have. Likewise, I have my therapeutic courses. This is like signing up for an online class. Each course has multiple videos with written documents and guided questions. We have Ready, Set, Connect about making good connection skills. Free to Be about finding yourself despite the controllers. This is me about establishing those boundaries. In addition, we have my webinars. We have our podcast. We have our website with lots of articles. We have my books. So there are plenty of resources. I truly appreciate it when you allow me to be on your journey with you. I know that there are times when you want to make things work out well, and that's part of what can make you a decent person. But at some point, you really do need that closure that says, I've got to get back to my basics, and I've got to learn how to be me all over again and celebrate what that means. It's not just your right, it's your responsibility, it's your calling. And in doing so, as you claim that, I'm hoping it can take you to a place of steadiness, and ultimately that you can be a person of peace. I so want you to find peace.